Welcome to Two Taps and Friends. Grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive into another episode of Two Taps and Friends.
Welcome back, everybody, to Two Taps and Friends. Listening to us have our conversations and talking shit. Appreciate you all. I have two amazing people here with me. I have
One mic.
one amazing people.
One mic.
One amazing person. I have Larry Schweiker. This Larry Schweiker has been my trial partner, friend, mentor. You know,
Boss?
never. Yeah, he was my boss. I have Michael Dye, another defense attorney, two esteemed defense attorneys, been doing it for a long time.
His resume.
His resume, we'll get to that in a minute. You know, these guys have been
Friend,
friends,
mentor,
colleagues.
Client.
We call them Boy Wonder when it comes to motion writing, Michael Dye over there. But yeah, so
You know how you
Larry.
get that term?
What was
Huh?
You know how you get that term?
that? Austria.
No.
No,
I give it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So just to give everybody a little background, because nobody really knows it, Larry's been a defense attorney for how many years now?
It depends on who you ask.
Like 30?
Florida bar considers it about 28.
So yeah, he's been for about 28 years.
Yeah, let's go that.
I've been doing it for how long now? About 20 years? Something like that,
25,
maybe?
yeah, 25.
I don't know about that. And Michael, about the same.
About 20.
Yeah, still practicing. All have our firms. All a little bit jaded, tainted, and tired, as you can tell by our faces, but, you know, still fighting a good fight. The funniest story is how I met both these dudes, all right? So when I went out, I went to law school a little bit late. I went to law school, I was opening stores with my father, and I went to law school late. And I decided I wanted to learn how to try cases as fast as I could. So I walked into the public defender's office as like a volunteer. Remember, I just walked in there. I'm like, hey, I went into Frank's office at the time, was a supervisor. I go, hey, I want to learn how to try cases, right? He looked at me like I fell off the fucking roof. He goes, come again? I'm like, yeah, I just want to volunteer. He goes, you want to work here and not get paid? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right.
That's what we do with all the employees. We'll
Yeah,
pay them
he
anyway.
goes, okay, kid. He goes, well, I'm like, I want to be with somebody. Can you put me with somebody I can learn how to try cases? He goes, I have just the fucking guy. He takes
Here
me.
we are, 30 years later.
Yeah, dude, he takes me to fucking Larry's office. The biggest pigsty I've ever seen, by the way.
This is what I was looking for.
Yeah.
This is my phone. This is you, my phone. I put it in the phone the first day.
The intern?
Danny, this is Danny, intern.
Yeah, I go.
28 years later.
Yeah,
25
I
years
go,
later.
hey, I'm Danny. I'm here to just, I want to learn how to try cases. And you, first of all, it took you fucking 2 hours to get back to the office. I was just sitting in this
Where was
pile
I?
of shit. You were in court probably. Just fucking suits, shirts, jackets laying everywhere. I'm laying in this mound. I'm like, this dude's going to be a piece of work. Comes in and you're like, I'm like, yeah, I'm volunteering. You go, come again?
You
Everybody had
didn't
the
think-
same, like, dude,
You didn't
right?
think to clean the place while you're waiting for me, did
Yeah,
you?
no, not at all. Didn't cross my fucking mind. So literally, that was it. And you're like, all right, well, come on, we're going to court. And that was it. We started trying cases. And it's been, I don't know
Uphill,
how many
downhill,
trials we've
so-
had together at this point. It's been crazy. We have
Several.
a lot. And that was it. And then how we met Michael's even fucking funnier. You know, I think, the first thing I saw with you were in trial on one of the funniest cases, remember?
No, which one was this?
It was My Pretty Face.
Pretty face. Oh.
We
that
come
one,
and
yeah.
there was this it was this lady, this big lady, all right? And she claimed it got beaten up by her boyfriend who looked like he was, $120 soaking wet. And it was hysterical. It was literally a Jerry Springer case. You can go into
Jerry
that for
Springer
hours
courtroom,
on that.
though,
With
yeah.
Jerry Springer courtroom. So that was my
been there,
first
right?
experience. He was in domestic violence, which was Jerry Springer. Literally, it was literally one stupid thing after the next, you know. But yeah, so in that, when I then became, I worked as I was a certified intern where I could
CLI.
CLI, so I could Supreme Court lets you talk in court, but you have to have a lawyer with you. I did that for a while with Larry. Then I became a lawyer. Once I passed the bar, I became a lawyer at the public defender's office. And as I was a public defender, I decided I was going to go and practice pretty quickly, because I knew I wanted to be in my own business and do all that. As soon as I tried enough cases, I went out. And as I was going out, I remember the prosecutor in the court goes to me, hey, Danny, you're going out in private practice, right? I go, yeah. He goes, well, you should talk to this guy. And he points to the row of lawyers where everybody sits. The private lawyers are waiting to get called up for their cases. And he points to Michael. And I go, why? He goes, well, because I don't think Michael worked at the prosecutor's office or the public defender's office, and he's very busy private attorney. Maybe he can give you some pointers. So I walk up and I go, hey, I hear I'm supposed to meet you. My name's Daniel Rosenberg. How are you? And Michael goes, Danny? And I go, do I know you? And you're like, dude, yeah, you fucking know me, man. I'm like, how do I know you? And he goes, you're my fucking lawyer. You and Larry were my lawyer, remember?
Yeah.
And
It was, what was it, March 5th, 2005 or something
It was
like
March
that.
5th, really?
Yeah, March 5th.
Yeah, dude. So what, you got hit you got in a fight with your wife and she hit you in the face with a frying pan?
Something to that effect.
Yeah, Michael has a tumultuous history with his ex-wife, but we're not going to get into that.
No,
but go ahead.
please.
Well, that morning, we're sitting there we're public defenders, and we're
Right.
sitting there doing the intakes. And domestic violence at the time, they do their own magistrate. Everyone else goes to a different magistrate judge, but they do their own magistrate. So you get everybody in there that's coming in, what we call a uniform, the wife beater T-shirt, for the night before, whatever
Uniform.
it is. Rappers, football players, everyone who get arrested that night before for
It could
domestic
be like
are
anybody.
in court every day that way.
Right,
So
right.
it's a little hectic. We're filling out applications for public defenders. Danny walks over to me, hey, this guy says he's got court in Miami. I said, well, he ain't gonna make it. He's here today. He got arrested last night.
Right, right.
Comes back a few minutes later. No, he says he's got court in Miami today.
Like, he's the lawyer.
He's the lawyer. I
He's
go,
the lawyer, and he
"Look
has
up."
court. We had trial.
I had
He
a trial. I was
He's
like,
got trial
Judge.
tomorrow. And Larry's like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, I swear.
So
So
I
go
didn't look
ahead.
up. Now I look up, and here we are 20 years later.
I was, it was, who was it?
Judge, I don't want to name
I can't
names,
say-
right?
sorry.
But it was a judge of domestic who'd been there for a long
and
time.
I went ahead and I said, I was like, Judge, I've got a trial in front of this judge in Miami tomorrow. So if you could just let me out right now, I'll turn myself back in.
The fucking funniest part is how I forgot about all this, dude. That's how fucked up we are. The stories that we have
Well,
just
how did Cohen refer to him every time since then?
Every time I come in, he'd be like, Mr.
in the future,
Yeah.
like next appearances, right?
He'd be like, Mr. Dyer, are we representing someone today?
Or the defendant.
Are you here on behalf of someone or yourself?
That's great.
8 years later, still asking that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't let you live that down.
Yeah.
I wouldn't either if I was a
Small
judge. That's
applause,
hysterical.
I don't
yeah.
blame him. I would have done it myself.
We're still doing it. We're here on camera doing it now.
No, but that was a cool thing. And then Michael Dyer, his private practice, bring me in on some cases. Started trying our own crazy cases together too, and that's it. And we've been friends since then. And now,
The
I
dog
still
do
work
on
with both
video.
of these guys all the time. I work with you for trials a lot. I work with Michael. Like Michael writes motions. That's what we call him, Boy Wonder, right? What's the nickname on the Boy Wonder?
Boy Wonder was, I was supposed to do a case for you. I don't know what exactly it was. I was supposed to do something, and you're like, no, don't worry about it. You're frustrated. And I'm on the phone with you. I literally, remember, I was on the phone talking to you. I got Di doing this. Mike's going to take care of it. Don't worry about it. 2 days later, you call me frantic. I'm in court on this thing. I go, oh, I thought you had the Boy Wonder doing this. Now you want my help on this shit.
The Boy Wonder gets you in more trouble most of the time,
And that was it. You were the Boy Wonder from then on.
Michael's the only attorney that's made me, it's the only friend that I've represented, been a witness for, been a witness against, literally, the guys had me fucking stacked at every
You imply
position.
that you were Batman at the time, then, so you should be, as a compliment.
I am Batman. No, that's another episode, But yeah, so I mean, we've been doing it since, and I figure I bring everybody on here and we just kind of have our own kind of discussions about shit that people ask us all the time. You know what I mean? So most people don't want to listen to a podcast, listen to fucking lawyers tell lawyer stories, right? But it's a little bit different with defense attorneys, right? Because we have some fucking crazy ass stories, right? But I figure we hit some topics that I asked some people to pick some topics for us.
Who'd you ask?
I asked viewers, I asked friends, I asked different people. You
Ask
know?
your wife.
I asked your friends. No. So the first thing that I think everybody hits us up about, and I want to get everybody's opinion and stories about it, jury duty, right? Everybody gets jury duty. I don't know how many times people come up to you guys and say, hey, I got jury duty. Is there any way I can get out of fucking jury duty, right? And what's the first line they say? If I tell them I'm racist, they're going to let me off?
Are you racist? No.
Yeah, are you racist? No, I'm
I
not.
can't be.
Not at all, but I can say it, that's not going to work, right? How much shit do we hear from jurors, and we're picking a jury?
My mother used
Have
to
we
ask
heard
me,
everything?
Oh, my friend's got jury duty. She wants to know how to get off. I go, Ma, tell her she's got to go.
You got to go, right?
Yeah.
Or what I tell them now is tell them that you know Danny Rosenberg, and that he tells you all the behind-the-scenes stories about what happens with prosecutors and defense
So this is
attorneys.
basically, you watch this podcast, you have a ticket to get off jury duty? Is that
Yeah, I
what
mean,
you're saying?
dude, it doesn't. I don't know. Try it, I say. But what I say, like
My
go ahead.
professional opinion is go to jury duty and do it. That's my statement. I'm sticking
That's
to
my
it.
formal statement. Go to jury duty,
That's
right?
my official
The most
thing,
that we
too.
might be able to help you with is delaying it, but eventually you're gonna have
Can't
to
wait
go
to our
in.
next panel. Didn't I see you on a podcast talking about how to get off jury duty?
No, you don't. Yeah,
It wasn't me.
we're not instructing you, but we're talking about some things that we hear. And the best thing I've ever heard. I tell people this story all the time. I think you were sitting there with me. We were in. Was it attempted murder? It was attempted murder, right? With the kid that shot the kid in the leg.
That was the one?
Yeah, I think it was that one because it was Michelle on the other end, right? So we're sitting in there, we're doing jury
Yeah,
selection,
that was it.
and the judge asked the typical, like, anybody here have a reason why they can't serve? And everybody fucking raises their hand, right? Like, yeah, you know, like, oh, I work alone, I'm self-employed, you know, you hear everything, right? I'm racist, you know, you hear everything. And it never works, right? And then they go, well, does anybody have a reason that
medical
they don't
issues.
want to, that they want to keep private, that they don't want to share to everybody? If they do, we'll excuse the rest of the jurors. It'll just be me, the judge, and the lawyers. So like 3 or 4 people usually raise their hands, right? So they get about, and it's usually like, well, you know, my sister was robbed and I can't, or I have a daughter that was, you know, some scary bad stuff sometimes. But the one guy, so we hear those, and the one guy just goes, and we're all like fiddling, like half bored. Nobody's listening. We
Oh,
are
taking notes,
listening, but we've heard it all, right?
writing
We're
it all
taking
down,
notes.
Yes.
And he goes, so I didn't want to say this, Your Honor, in front of all the rest of the jurors, but I have a rash down here. And he goes, and I wasn't going to say anything. This is the best way. He goes, I wasn't going to say anything, but it's been spreading since this morning. And dude, look at the prosecutor lets out a, like that. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, Michelle, stop laughing. She goes, I'm sorry. She goes, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith. I'm sorry I laughed. She's looking, I'm sorry about your rash. And I'm like, oh my God, just stop, right? Do you remember that? And the judge goes, does anybody have an objection to releasing this juror
Danny's
because
comment
of
was
his
perfect.
rash?
Danny's comment was perfect. It's
Yeah.
like, anybody have any objection to removing the
juror.
The juror? Danny goes, no, and remove the chair as well.
I'm like, Judge, we'd like to do an eliminating motion to remove the chair as well, you know? So what I tell people is, dude, if you want to get out of jury duty, you got to be bold enough to get up in front of everybody and say that you got a rash, and it's got to be down there, and you got to say it's spreading, because I don't know that it has the same effect.
He did it with the straightest face. He's a big dude.
No,
too.
he
A
was
really
dead
big
serious,
guy.
dude. The guy had a spreading rash. I had no doubt
So
in my
maybe he
mind,
did.
you know?
We'll just go with the fact that he had a rash. So
Right,
That
right.
gets you off.
Right, right. So, dude, like what I would say to people is like, short of something wild like that, we've heard it all. You know
You'd
what I
never
mean?
get paid for jury duty then, would you?
Have you ever gotten? What's happening
No,
to you guys when you get called on?
I
panels?
got called for jury duty in a tobacco case. And
Oh, you got stuck on a civil case?
Yeah, but here's the thing. We were next up for trial in that division. Initials SS. You remember him?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we were next up for trial in that division. And so judge is like, does anybody have anything that's going to keep? I'm like, yeah, I'm preparing for trial because I'm next up in this division. I got to go.
This doesn't
You
go,
know?
I'm in trial.
And I'm
You've
like,
been in this position quite often, you know.
and so I didn't get excused right away, which I was kind of shocked about. And plus, earlier that week, I sat in on a motion hearing on that exact same case, so I knew a lot of stuff that was going on in it. But when they come around and I'm like, wait, I was like, wait a minute, you're suing over this lady smoking cigarettes, and she got sick. That's like the biggest no shit thing ever. I mean, you knew you weren't getting your vitamins from it.
God.
I'm like, so.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
Oh
I'm like,
shit.
you knew you weren't getting your
warning on the
vitamins
side
from
of it.
this
The only
stuff.
thing the world
The
has a
tobacco
warning.
company's
This
like,
will
fucking,
kill
we
you.
want them.
Yeah.
Put them on the panel.
I was just like, I can intellectually see this from both ways,
Oh,
but I'm going to
Jesus.
tell you, I'm never going to find that the tobacco company is responsible to pay you damages.
Oh my God,
All right,
that's
so
no way.
I'm like, never going to happen because, you can sit there and pretend, oh, I didn't know it was addictive. I didn't know it would give me cancer. You're full of shit.
Oh my God.
All right, and so that kind of sparked off a huge discussion. I'd started the jury
You're lucky you
chatting.
didn't end up on that fucking panel.
So
How about you?
I got picked twice. I was on a jury panel. And,
Was it a criminal case?
2 criminal ones, yes. It was Judge Weinstein was the first one. He did a questionnaire. Didn't look at anybody. And so one of the questions was, do you know anybody else in this courtroom? And I put everyone. He's like, he's going through all the questions. Juror number 18. You seem to know everyone in this courtroom? And he looks up for the first time. He goes, oh, Mr. Schweiker. I guess you do. Okay, sorry, everybody. So
That's kind of what happened to me. Like I got
that
called.
one. I was actually set on one in domestic violence because I didn't want to get picked for a civil one like you did. So I figured I'll hang around this one. He said, you can leave if you want. You can be excused. And I said, no, I'll sit here. Otherwise, I go back into the room.
Right.
Get on a
And
civil
then it's a
tr-
fucking,
and
you
then
never
2
know where you
weeks
end up.
of not making money. So I stayed there, and they actually picked me. I asked, like, who the hell was after me that you picked me? That you didn't want those people that
Yeah,
bad?
no shit. Yeah.
So it was a battery on a law enforcement officer, domestic one, but battery on a law enforcement officer. And they're like, how many people know defense lawyers? I was one of them. And how many people know police officers at the time? My ex-wife was a cop. Like, you know, you're both? I go, yeah. My wife at the time was a police officer. I knew plenty of them. I represented plenty of them. So they put me on they couldn't decide. They left me on there.
That's like, how are we going to sit here and tell you how to
I
get
told
out?
them-
You couldn't even get out of
They found him
jury
not
duty.
guilty. It was easy, but I said that one guy wanted to be the foreman so bad, and everyone's like, "Oh, he should be the foreman. He knows what he's doing." I go, "No, you guys, he can be the foreman. I just want to press that button that buzzes everything."
The one that traumatized us for years, dude.
You know, 150 trials I did. Every time that there's a jury verdict, there's a buzzer that they hit. One's a question, 2 buzzes
Is a verdict.
is a verdict.
Right.
So you're sitting at 1, you're waiting, and it's very traumatizing.
Fucking terrible,
I have
dude.
PTSD from this
The
buzzer.
worst.
I said,
Few
I just
people
want to
feel
press
that feeling.
button on the inside. I want to be the one who presses that button. I pressed it 3 times. Like, this-
Or I had a case in North Carolina where the jury was out. It was a drug case, you know, just a low-level trafficking, I think. And so it had to do with marijuana. And so it was a pretty rock-solid case for the state. But we made a couple good arguments, and then all of a sudden the jury is like, you know, we have a question. And it's getting late in the day, so the judge is like, okay, we're going to wind it up. Jury comes in with the question, and he looks at it, and he's like, do you validate parking?
That's great. It's a valid question, dude. Valid. That's really good, dude.
Good. I thought mine was crazy. We had a guy pulled a gun on some kids that were throwing rocks at his car. It was a misdemeanor. It was a county court case. And the question comes back. We're all, did they listen to this? Did the guy self-defense, I argued. Question comes back. How many bullets is in the gun? This Judge Ireland, she's like, why would that make a
Fuck does
difference?
that have to do with anything? Dude, that's the thing. That's what's scary about juries.
Then she goes
sometimes.
off on this tangent, and well, how many bullets does it hold? She couldn't get the idea that you could actually chamber around and put another bullet in the magazine. We spoke about that for about 45 minutes before we answered the jury's question.
Dude, that's what, you know, people, that moves, we can go to the next topic. People ask us for jury selection. Because there's like a movie out right now, Juror Number 2, right? Have you seen that? It's like, it's streaming everywhere. It's one of the new movies. And like people are now, I'm getting random people coming to me asking me about like, is this how it works with jurors? Like, how does it work with jurors? Just random people, like friends, asking me about jurors. And, dude, I tell people, like, how is it that important? Like, the jury, is it that important? I'm like, dude, it's everything, right? Like, the jury, do you agree the jury is everything, right, in a trial?
More important than all the facts together.
Right? I mean, you could have the worst case, and it's so hard to pick juries because you get a guy can't figure out fucking the bullet question, right?
That's kind of what you do. When
You get a guy that's so
have a
bored.
bad case,
You
you
get a
put a
guy that's
loose
so bored he's
category.
asking about the fucking parking. Like,
Exactly.
that's the fucking craft, right? You remember how it's the worst part about like talking about jury selection? Like, it's literally us judging people, right?
Well, there's that saying. It's not my saying, but there's that saying that your life depends on 6 people who are too stupid to get off jury duty.
I didn't say that. He said that.
I said
Yeah,
it's a
that's
saying.
not-
Meanwhile, we just all talked about how you couldn't get off jury duty, right?
All of
Like,
my-
I have a reason.
All of my jurors are highly intelligent. I like them all.
Yeah, dude, no, but like it's scary. Like you got to sit here and we judge every person. That's why like you got to ask so many questions to try to like size up. You're sizing people up.
And they're all lying to you anyway. That's the problem.
Yeah, but then you
They're
got to
all
be able to size
bullshit.
up that they're
They're all
lying to
lying
you,
to you.
right? Dude, they're all literally trying to figure out how to play chess with you to get off the panel. That's it.
That's it. They won't try to
And then
get
you have the guys who are trying to get onto it.
Those are the worst. You got to
Yeah.
be careful with them. You know, when they're trying to get on, like,
The funniest thing is the racist people, if you have a black client or Hispanic client. The racist people will be the ultimate Americans when it comes to jury duty. I can be fair and impartial, of course.
Yeah, they're trying to get on.
You know, they might slip and say, I have a few Latinos working for me cleaning my yard, but they might, other than that, you'll never get anything out of them. The people who are truly against the police or have a bad experience with the police, they raise their hand and tell you that right away. But, all right, let's put that aside for a minute.
Yeah, like, I hate cops. I think they're all unfair. I think I would vote for defense every time. Like, great, glad you said that.
There you go. Now you're
That
off.
immediately makes you just get stricken. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the question is like, has anybody here had a negative experience with the police? Do you think you were treated fairly? Things like that. And you'll have some people will be like, oh, you know, never been treated unfairly. And some people come right out and they're just like, you know, this is what happened. I was pulled over. It wasn't for
Somewhere
no good
along the line,
reason.
they got to teach them to keep their mouths shut as to overly doing that. I can be fair and impartial, but yes, the cop put his foot on my neck for 45 minutes.
Oh, dude, I had the best answer.
Yeah, but see, some of them are probably trying to get off. But the funny thing is, the ones that are actually doing that aren't trying to get off. They're just mad. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and that's their form to vent.
Right.
And that's the
I had
problem.
the client, the juror with the best answer. My client was from deep in the hood. And so they had a black guy on the jury, and I could tell the state was trying to get rid of him. And I'm getting ready to do a Batson challenge. I'm like, I'm getting ready for this. So then all of a sudden they say, you know, have you ever had a negative experience with the police officer? And he's like, no, not me personally. And they're just like, you know, ugh. And they're like, well, what about people you know? He's like, yeah, brothers in the hood, they be getting hassled all the time. So the state's getting ready, and kicks over to me. I'm like, can you be fair and impartial on this jury and put aside your personal experience? He's like, oh, absolutely. Like,
Like,
bingo.
boom, he's back.
Right.
That's what people don't understand. Like, you can be rehabilitated.
Yeah.
Like, if you say something stupid and we want you, we'll just get up and, like,
Yeah.
kind of walk. But if
That's
you
the
really
easier
want to
said
get
than
off
done.
and you're smart, you'd be like,
no,
nope,
that's the
can't
word,
do
fair
it.
and impartial. That's
Hate
why it
him,
can't be.
can't do it. Definitely can't be. That's what I was trying to say. Fair and impartial. Right.
That's the word I'm
That's the
looking
word I was looking for.
That's what my
I have the inability
neighbor's
to
son
be
told
fair
me
and
to say.
impartial. Yeah, dude.
So.
Yeah, I mean, but that's everything. Like, you end up, how many times we've been in trial and, like, we're all the way through and we're trying to figure out how we're doing, and there's just one juror just giving you stink eye. Like,
that's good.
looking at you like, I fucking hate you. You're like, oh, we're fucked.
That's
like,
usually
dude,
every time.
yeah, well, that's you. Usually I'm able to win a bunch over, but, like,
As
you
a
just-
public defender, this guy kept, maybe it was the way I dressed back then. He's like,
Back then?
Yeah. So he's like, he goes, I have a question. Is he a public defender? And just like,
You're not allowed, for the people listening, you're not allowed to say if a lawyer is a public defender
Right.
because it unfairly biases.
it could be,
but-
right, it could be biased, that they don't have enough money to afford a lawyer. They're obviously poor people.
Right,
and
right,
the
right.
Whole thing. So supposed to not talk about that.
Right.
I guess I exuded public defender. I had hair at the
No.
time. I had hair at the time, and it was very long. So
Did
maybe
you? Did you? I don't remember that. I'm just messing around.
I had a ponytail. I might have given it away.
Right.
So you have to ask, and this guy was a movie critic. So he's going off, and he was just really, really arrogant, going on and on about this. That was his profession and everything. So he goes, well, I have to hold it against him because I can't do this. Well, then I'm going to have to excuse you. And he just walks out. I'm like, everyone's a critic. so I bring everybody back to a commonplace and be happy.
Dude, the one time, this shows how important. When I was like I was young public defender, one of the first trials I was in, I remember I had Jackie. I'm not gonna name her last name. She sat with me because when you first started public defender trying cases, they would put like a more senior lawyer with you. But you did the whole trial. They would just sit there in your ear, and every once in a while, be like, "Don't fucking do this." They were
With
like
the
this.
sticky
Don't
notes.
fuck this up, Danny. Like. So I'm picking a jury, right? And the case was a fight again. It was I don't know, a domestic just came to me. I don't know what it is. It was a guy accused of hitting a girl. And you got to remember, when you're a public defender, listeners have to understand, you don't get to pick your cases, right? You got to deal with anything that comes to the door, and you have to do your job.
And nobody.
You're not allowed to lie,
Other
but
people
you
said they
have
don't
to-
want those already.
Yeah, and everybody's trying to get off those. So you really learn how to be a litigator, right? So I guess in the fight, there was blood on her lip, right? But in the pictures, it was like a cut that bled a lot, right? Still, she got hit in the lip. So I remember the defense was that, and it wasn't just a one-way thing. They were fighting. The two of them were like going at each other pretty heavy, So the only defense we had is that potentially, like, it was arm swaying, he wasn't intentionally, they were all trying to defend themselves. It was just a melee, right? So I go and I'm going through the jury and we're doing the chart, the jury chart where we're trying to go through. And I'm like, I like juror 4. And Jackie's like, dude, he's a doctor. Why do you want to put the doctor on? Like, because normally in cases like that, you don't want to have a doctor on the panel, I'm like, well, the doctor, this is my theory. I'm like, the doctor will be good because there's a lot of blood in this picture. So, like, if a doctor looks at it, he's not going to be so spooked by blood. He might say, that little cut can bleed like that, too, so it would benefit. And she looks at me and she goes, okay, you think? I'm like, I think.
We overthink is
Literally, the trial is a shit show, right? It literally becomes, all the witnesses are fucking crazy. She's crazy, he's crazy. So we get in the end, and, like, there was also, like, a resisting charge. Like, he ran from 20 cops. And I managed to convince the jury that he didn't hear them. I'm like, dude, did you have your side? The cop, like, did you have the siren on? They're like, what, dude? It was fucking the whole force chasing him. I'm like, yeah, well, did you make announcements? Did you announce your presence? So.
I'm sorry, he was drunk.
Yeah. So they come back not guilty on the fleeing, all right? Not guilty on this, guilty on the battery. Battery is just the hitting, right?
The blood.
Just a misdemeanor battery?
So
Doctor
it
convinced
was
us,
misdemeanor, right? And I go, shit, right? So then in the end, the jury always, the judge says, if you'd like to stay after the verdict, you'd like to stay and talk with the lawyers, now is your opportunity to do it. Because, as lawyers, you're not allowed to talk to jurors while this is going on at all. Like, you can't even really make eye
afterward
contact.
unless they want to.
Right, afterwards, right?
If they want to.
Right. So they all wait to talk to me, right? All of them. I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, hey, and they're like, listen, this is what they say. We just want to let you know, like, we loved you. We thought you did great. We wanted to give you the not guilty across. But the doctor fucked you. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, the doctor fucked me great. Jackie's like, the doctor, huh? And I'm like, dude, like, what happened with the doctor? She's like, well, the doctor just we were looking at all the pictures, and we're like, it could be like a defensive thing. It's a small cut, and the doctor's like, no, this woman was battered. So it bit me in the ass. But I just tell that story always because it just shows.
The other way too, yeah.
Huh? Yeah, but it shows how important
everything is.
the jury is everything, dude. Like, if a jury on a case is everything. So, like, in that movie Juror 2, he was like, it was like a story about how he ended up being the guy got accused of, like, killing his wife, a girl, but it ended up him hitting and running her. It was just random, one of those stories,
I mean,
So he's manipulating the jury in there because he was
theories.
the
When I
person.
started, they were like, "Oh, you got to get accountants on you because they're analytical, and they'll listen to all the details and the elements of the crime." I go, so for years, I put accountants. That never ever once did an accountant ever help me on this. Plus, if you get an accountant, they usually have things to do. It's usually in March, and they got to get rid of tax season. They get off for that reason too. All you want firemen on there because firemen know what cops really do. They're the worst.
Yeah, dude.
They know it, and they're friends with them.
And
so
they also deal with fucking criminals
Yes.
all day, too, talking
Also,
shit to
yeah.
them. They don't want to hear that, dude. That's what I'm saying. There's
no-
everything works
There's no
both ways.
textbook way to do it.
That's
Just-
what I'm telling you. Like, when people are like, they try to like judge or be prejudiced or whatever, everything is gray. Nothing is black and white, literally. You know what I mean? There's always a backstory. People are like, oh, well, you want a black person. If you're defending a black person, you want a black person on the panel. No.
Not necessarily.
Sometimes they're worse. They don't want like this, like,
Last trial, like, oh,
if the guy's like a gangster and they're like not a gangster, they're like, fuck this guy, he gives me a bad name. And same thing with Jews and white people, huh?
That guy's more white than I am.
No, they get more mad.
I
Like,
told you about that situation in North Carolina where I was representing like a gangbanger, and there was a black guy in the back, and my client's like, we want him. I'm like, Thomas, it says here you have a master's degree in biomechanical engineering.
dude, you don't want him.
He was like, I have a master's degree in biomechanical engineering from the Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore,
shit.
Maryland. I'm like, still want him?
he's like, nah, I don't want him anymore,
So what
dude.
you're
Yeah?
He
saying
hates
is
you.
everyone's racist. The juror's racist. We're racist because we're
I don't know if it's
stereotyping them.
racist, but people have
Stereotyping.
prejudices, right? People stereotype. For sure, everybody walks around stereotyping. It's just what it is. Like, but if you if you understand that things are gray, it'll work out a lot better for you, you know?
There's a lot of things that are counterintuitive. Like, people would think that women aren't good jurors on like sexual assault cases. They usually tend to be great jurors for the defense.
Yeah, there's no, that's what I'm saying, it's all gray. There's no black
If
and
you're
white. People
claiming
are
someone's
complicated.
lying about something, it's a catty type thing. Women hold.
Women spot that shit
They
quick.
hold other women to a high standard.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, dude.
So it's a very
Plus, women are mothers.
yes.
If there's a young guy there, they're going to have a place in their heart for them. Like, it's all super complicated. That's why, like, when you're doing jury selection as a lawyer, people ask you, you got to ask so many fucking questions. And at
Yo,
the time,
listen,
you kind of
you
run
just
dry.
gotta
You're
listen.
like, what do I keep asking like this fucking guy? Like, I got to find out more. What's the scariest thing when we're swearing in a jury? I'll tell you what for me is when we didn't talk to fucking someone enough. Remember? We've had that,
Well,
like,
you
dude,
look at the
Juror
thing.
4 didn't say a fucking word. We
Juror
know
4's
nothing
not
about
here.
him.
I got a blank spot in my notes.
Yeah, dude. We're like, oh, shit. This guy could be a neo-Nazi. We wouldn't know.
He
You
works
know?
at the ice cream store. That's all I got.
Dude, we ran out of peremptory challenges in a case in North Carolina.
So let me explain to
Okay.
people. So peremptory challenge. So there's two kinds of challenges in the jury selection. So I can strike. There's how many? 4 peremptories or 3?
Depends
How
on
many?
the charge.
Depends on the charge.
yeah,
right?
it depends on how many.
Three.
I always
and
forget.
regular.
3 usually, right? So 3 peremptories means I can strike you for any reason. I can strike a juror for any reason other than race or gender, right? And we want to save those because when we do that, there's no question. It's just they're stricken unless it can be shown that it's race or gender. And then there's cause, which we're always trying to do cause because it doesn't count against our tally. Cause means that they
You have a
can't be fair and
rash.
impartial. Yeah, they can't be fair and impartial. And when we say we like to strike them for cause, we have to put it to the judge. The other side gets to argue, well, we think they can be fair and impartial, and they get a chance to cure them. So it's more
Rehabilitate,
complicated.
yeah.
But if you get that strike, it doesn't count against your 3. So you're always trying to do, it's chess. You're always trying to play it that way. So sorry, I just got to do an interload so people know what the fuck a peremptory is. But go ahead.
Well, it was a sexual battery kidnapping case. The victim was under 12. It was a horrible nightmare of a
Terrible.
case.
You got to pick this case to
Yeah.
fucking talk about? Go
It's
ahead.
the jury selection issue. It's a horrible case.
Right.
But at the same time, that we run out of peremptory challenges.
You just made all of our viewers hate us. But go ahead. In one fucking stroke.
Oh, he went to prison.
Yeah.
So,
I try not to take those cases, for the record. Go ahead.
and so we run out of peremptory challenges, and the last guy is a cop from probably the worst department in the area.
Carolina?
And he's the last guy. I'm like, for cause? Why? Because he's a cop from this department, and you know how we feel about them. And
let him
so,
off.
no, they wouldn't let him off. So we got stuck with that guy being. We tried as hard as we. Do you feel comfortable sitting in judgment of another person, of another police officer's work?
like,
Yeah, I was in internal
"Absolutely no
affairs
problem."
for 2 years. I have no problem doing
He's
this.
sinking your dude.
And
You
we're
know?
like,
That's
"Ah."
the universe. That's what we say to people. Like, people are like, dude, you get criminals off. I'm like, yeah, let me tell you something. The universe is undefeated, right? It's undefeated, dude. What goes around comes around. Karma is undefeated. If he wins this trial, he's going to do something stupid or she's going to do something stupid and go down on something else, you know? But
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what I've seen in
We had
the
that Palm Beach
20-year,
case.
30-year body of work that we've been
We
doing,
had
huh?
that one case that we were doing real well on. It was,
Do not name names.
we're not naming names.
Okay.
And we were finding a lot about the victim. It was a little crazy, horrific
I'm still
facts.
finding out stuff about the
Yeah,
victim.
still
It's
going
crazy,
on.
but we're not
Exactly.
going to go into that.
We were looking at, we
The alleged
didn't like the
victim.
case. We didn't
Oh,
like
go
the
ahead,
case.
sorry.
We didn't like the case. So what we were doing real well is defending it. We were going to have a really good shot at this.
Right.
Even the judge said, this is a very defendable case.
I know.
After we did
And
our
that never
individual
happens, right?
hearings. 2 months before it goes to trial, he fires us, needs a new lawyer.
I said it. I'm like, dude, people, if
I don't know if we would have won.
the universe is undefeated, somehow we will not end up on this case trying it, you know? And if we're not,
Yeah.
not to be cocky, but we knew the case the best, like,
Yeah.
he's going to get fucked. And
He might
we're
have
not
got
gonna
fucked
go
either way, but still.
That's true.
It's guaranteed not that way. So.
That's true. That's true. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's what I'll say about jury selection. It's the most important. Every time I do a presentation, I harp on the jury selection. It's the,
Just
I mean,
flip a coin. Heads
yeah, I
is
mean, the
guilty,
rest
tails
is
not
like, it's almost like, it's not, like, you're just cross-examining. That shit we do, like, for fun. You know what I mean? Like, chips are gonna fall where they may. Very, very rarely are the lawyers going to screw up? If a good litigator, they're going to screw that up. You know, maybe once in a while you ask a question you shouldn't have asked.
Yeah, but your mind's trained. That's the
Your mind's
problem.
trained and conditioned to sit here and do it.
Yeah.
I so much that I have to stop it when I go home because my
my
wife wants to
kids
kill
are-
me. Like you just sit, I cross-examine everybody, dude. It's terrible. You know?
I don't
Just
have
the-
that problem anymore.
Yeah, well, you could get divorced and just solve that right away, but not all of us want to do that. You know, actually, I'm the only one that's not divorced
My
here.
son's
But
famous line. I'm not
doesn't
one of your
always end
people,
well for
Daddy.
lawyers. Knock on wood. I work hard to keep it together.
Isn't it true you have homework tonight? Not,
Yeah.
do you have homework tonight? Isn't it true you have
Yeah,
homework
you
tonight?
have homework tonight, right?
What do you
know?
have for
You
homework
put the
tonight?
words in their mouth. But that goes. Let's move to the next topic. So I think we touched it enough. I have judges, but I don't know if we want to touch that because I don't think you guys are
still
capable of
friends.
naming names.
I've got a lot
Maybe
to say.
we'll do that next episode, and I don't want to go there because that'll get us all in trouble. But the big thing, what most people most
The
people
judge was a
encounter
thing, was a big
police. No, the judge is a big thing. We're not doing that. But for now, we're not doing that, But police, people, encounters with police. That's how the most questions. You agree when people tell people you're a defense attorney, they tell you about encounters with police. Am I right?
Everyone's got a story, right?
Everybody's got a story.
Was he right to do this?
What is your opinion when you see these fucking guys on TikTok or whatever videotaping the fucking cop,
Well, that was a new
talking
rule.
shit to the cop? I don't like it. Do you like it?
So I've been pulled over all my life.
Right?
When I was 16, 17, I grew up in South Florida in the 80s. That drug dealer profiles. This was the hotbed of drug activity in the 80s.
Right.
And I had a 78 Trans Am. I drove around all blacked out. I had long hair. I fit the description of drug dealers at the time. And I wasn't a drug dealer.
Right, right.
So I got stopped all the time. It's just, they're doing their job and, I'm doing my job, trying to avoid it. But sometimes they're better at it. That's
Right,
all.
like I have great relationships with cops. When we're taking depositions of them and we're dealing with them, most of them are just doing their jobs, dude. That's why I tell people. But people think that as a defense attorney, I pull rank on cops when I get pulled over, and that's the last thing I do. When I get pulled over, I'm like, yeah, I got nothing. I'm sorry, dude. Do you know I pulled you over? Yeah, I could probably figure it out, but I apologize, sir. I give them my shit because they just want to end the encounter too. Most times they just want to end the
Well,
encounter.
you're gonna listen. When the lights go on behind somebody, normal people freak the hell out.
Right.
That's just scary, and it used to be scary to me. Now it's like whatever. I was fighting tickets since I was 16 years old.
Yeah, when you were younger and you were doing shit, it was more scary.
Well, it's like my first ticket. That's the judge. He's dead now. Judge Ford. He was a
See, you can't go. You have to name a name.
This guy invented the whole traffic court, though. He's
Okay.
deceased a long
Here in
time
Broward?
now. Yeah, he did the whole challenging traffic tickets and everything else. So I have a cop that he said I cut him off, whatever, but what happened was someone ran in front of me. I stopped real fast, and he was right behind me, and he almost hit me. And he got pissed off. He wrote me a ticket. So he gets to court, and he's arguing that I'm 2 or 3 car lengths ahead of him. I'm like, that's not the case, but I'll go with your story.
Right,
I said, how did you see me? You're not. I was a little smart ass back then. And I said, our Hollywood police officer's Superman. He's like, what are you talking about? I go, you don't have X-ray vision. How did you see through 3 cars?
Right.
And Judge Ford's just laughing his ass off. He goes, I'm dismissing it. He goes, no, actually, he goes, what really happened? I go, I was right in front of him, actually.
Yeah,
He said, I didn't use my turn signal. I said, I didn't turn. He just almost hit me. He got pissed off. And he goes, great, this is all after the fact. He goes, you got to get a future in this if you're interested in it. I go, really?
Who knew?
Exactly.
Who knew? Now you're probably one of the best cross-examiners of cops I've
I
ever
wish you would have
seen.
shut his mouth and not told me that.
I've got maybe a little bit skewed perspective on
I
all
wonder,
the thing.
Everything we just talked about, I just let the cops do their job, is literally the opposite.
The opposite
He
of
does
Michael
not do
Dye.
that.
Michael
first,
Dye
okay.
is the king of fucking blowing things up, dude.
First off, the best man at my wedding, police officer. One of my best friends from high school, police officer.
Got
Love the
it.
guys to death.
No
They're as
question.
honest as the day is long.
Right.
My past was a little colorful when I was in college,
To say
you
the
could
least.
say.
I thought that
And
last week.
it's like,
Yeah. You mean by past, do you mean yesterday or do you mean like a couple of years ago? Define past.
Rewind how we met him.
here's the thing, all right? When police officers have the rules that they're supposed to abide by, all right? Criminals have rules that they're supposed to abide by. When the criminals abide by their rules and the police officers
The criminals
abide,
have rules they're supposed to abide by.
they absolutely
Meaning
do.
don't do this dumb
no
shit.
snitching, no being an
Got
idiot.
it. All right, got it.
So when the criminal follows his rules and the police follow their rules and the police win, all right, hey, that's just 2 guys doing their job. You won,
Right.
good job.
Right.
all But when, all right, the whole criminal justice system is based on a faulty premise that the police are always going to tell the truth.
Right.
All right, and we know that is just not the case. All right, you can remember the marijuana on the lap case.
Yeah, that was a good trial.
Yeah, it was a great trial. He
Yeah,
says he
because-
saw the
but see,
marijuana.
but I would say that the system is rigged to catch I mean, if you have a good litigator, like you were in the crowd, I was at the table,
Mm-hmm.
and you were in my ear, and this cop lied for no reason. Like we had a guy I had a guy
Hey,
got-
it was a pretty good reason of
well, the guy got pulled over, and he like it was a cannabis charge. We had to go to trial on it, and I think he had like crumbs on his lap or something, right?
Yeah, it was a little bit.
But
Just-
yeah, so it was very little, and he wasn't smoking in the car, right?
Nope.
And the cop gets up and goes, as soon as I got out of the car, I could smell the marijuana, right? And I go, wait a minute, are the windows closed? Well, yeah. I'm like, the windows are closed. Was he smoking? Was there smoke coming out when you opened it? No. I'm like, so you could smell the marijuana, the fucking shake he had on his leg, right? So he lied for no reason, and it gave us a reason to it gave me a reason to go wild, right?
Yeah.
And then I had a dialogue. So if you do lie, we'll catch you, but I get what you're saying. You know?
Sometimes.
Right.
You know, it's like, that case, remember, you took that over from another attorney who was like, there's no way to win this case.
Right,
Because
right.
he saw the marijuana on the lap.
Right.
And then we went over it together, and I was like, hey, look, he's lying because look how long he followed him. And you think the guy's just going to sit there putting more and more marijuana on his lap while he sees the cop in the rearview mirror?
Right.
So, but like I said, if the cop does his job, follows his rules, and the criminal does his job and follows his rules, may the best man win. But the problem that you end up having is when the cops determine that they make up the rules as they go. All right? And a lot of times, unfortunately, I've seen some of it in my personal life where the police officers won't enforce certain laws against certain people, will enforce certain
Right.
laws against other people. You have cases where if, I'm not going to name specific towns, but if there's a domestic violence incident and nobody is, nobody's hurt, all right, they'll tell the guy, hey, can you go to a hotel room for the night? No, they're supposed to make an arrest.
Right.
All right?
Right.
But because that town wants to keep the crime rates low and the property values high,
Right.
You know?
So there's a lot of, I agree with you. So that's why people are like, how could you defend criminals? I'm like, dude, it's not that simple. Right?
One judge, I will say his
how
name.
many people,
Said it best. He's
these are just two example cities, not saying that these are the two cities.
Right.
All right? How many people in Parkland have been stopped for walking on a street when a sidewalk is available compared to Sistrunk in Fort Lauderdale?
Right.
All right? If you walk on the street when a sidewalk's available down by Sistrunk, you will be stopped.
Right.
All right? If you do it in Parkland, they're going to say, hey,
I
have a nice
agree
day.
100%. I agree with you 100%. I mean, that's why I agree. It's not so simple.
Yeah,
right?
but like one judge, I won't say his name, he put it best, and he said it every day. Good police work is not right police work. So cops have to do what they have to do. That's it. That's it. We want them on that wall, to quote the movie. We need them on that wall
Yeah,
to
but-
do that.
Yeah, but if they
Okay?
screw up, they need.
Well,
that's
that's
why
why
the system is
The system-
balanced.
Yeah.
It's a check and balance system.
Scales of
But
justice.
what I will say is you don't need to fucking exacerbate the situation. Like Tyreek Hill, and I like Tyreek Hill as a player, people ask me, like, what was that encounter? I'm like, that was two people being assholes, Like he gets pulled over, guys knocking on his window. Just roll the fucking window down. Roll the window down. Just roll the window down.
Roll the window down.
Just
Give him
say,
a
hey,
heady
how
shut
can I
up.
help you? But he rolls the window down. Don't be knocking on my car. Like, dude, you know that's not going to go well. Why? Then you get a cop who's a
wasn't
dick.
McLaren.
He's a dick, and you just pissed him off. So now you have the perfect storm
I don't know
of
about that.
assholeness.
I disagree with
That's
that.
my opinion.
No, the cop, he might have rose to that level, but his first instinct is, why won't this guy roll the window down?
I agree.
I'm not asking him to do anything other than roll his window down.
No, I'm not saying the cop was an asshole.
Yeah.
It got to the point where he
He
overdid
has to be
it.
authoritative. He has to be
Right.
that's what he's trained to do at that point. The next thing, a gun's coming out shooting the cop. You don't know.
Do you remember the Chris Rock? He's like, how not to get your ass whipped by a
That
cop.
is the-
That was
I
the
showed
best.
so many
He
of my
goes,
clients
Number
that."
one, shut the fuck up. Right? That's number one. Don't get a friend that's talking shit out the window. Like, dude, you're going to
Yeah.
get pulled out of the car and slammed on the fucking concrete. Now, did he need to slam on the concrete and then go talk shit to all of his... And again, but in his defense,
You got all
another friend comes up,
Yeah.
is walking up on the scene. He doesn't know these guys
It wasn't
from
the punter,
Boo.
was it?
No, it's a big fucking dude, man.
Exactly.
Like, these guys are all on edge. Like, nothing's so simple. But what I will tell you is that I would say 95% I could say that if he just rolled the window down, he probably was not getting arrested, and he probably would have not been fucking thrown on the concrete. You agree with that?
If you got a ticket, have a good game.
So yeah, I mean, I have a business card that has the waiver, the rights. We have the right
Yeah.
for me. I have it on the back of the card. And I have people in like my network group. They all take my card and they're like, "Hey, dude, like one time I goes, listen, my kid got arrested because he flashed your card." I'm like, "How did he flash my card? Like, who told you to flash the card? It's there for reference." Well, he was leaving a club. He was a little drunk, and the cop was sitting on a stool outside the club, and he just said, yeah, you can't fuck with me, and he pulled the car. I'm like, what do you think is gonna happen when you do that to a cop? Like, dude, like, so what I tell people is just be polite, be cool, try to end the encounter as fast as you can. You agree?
Yeah, I remember that kid who, it was right when I moved to North Carolina, we were representing, he got like caught with 14 pounds of weed in his trunk, and then we get him off of it. We win the motion to suppress.
Which is now legal. I don't know, 14 pounds probably still not legal. Yeah, yeah.
And then that very night, he gets caught with like 16 pounds of weed. The very night that we get him off on the motion to suppress.
Karma.
He gets caught with 16 pounds of weed. His mom calls me, we're getting ready. And he's like, my effing Jew lawyer, Danny Rosenberg's going to get me out of this again.
Yeah, he goes, no, the quote was, that was a different one. Yeah, he said on that one. But the best quote one time is I had, one of my clients is a trip. I could name his name. You guys all know who he is, right? He got arrested for the 19th time or some shit. And I walk into misdemeanor court. It was like a misdemeanor, so it wasn't like,
Yeah, not worried
it was
about it.
brand new. So I walk in and I go in. I'm like, listen, yeah, it's brand new. I'm waiting on the evidence. We'll reset the date. So the prosecutor doesn't even pick his head up. He's like, yeah, no problem, Danny. And I'm walking out, and then I hear down the hall, I hear, Danny. I'm like, yo. He goes, dude, fuck that. You gotta come read this police report. This is the best police report ever. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, dude. I've been waiting for you. So I go back, and the police report says, the officer was writing, I then removed defendant from the vehicle, at which point defendant turned to me and said, quote, it don't matter what charge you try to stick on me, I got the best Jew lawyer in town, and he's getting me off anyway, motherfucker. End quote. Dude, we die laughing. I literally go, it's true. He goes, get the fuck out of here, Danny. That's the best, right? So, dude, yeah, let's wrap. So we'll wrap up this episode. I think this is a good place for us to stop. I'll have these guys on again shortly. Anything anybody want to say in final? You guys
No, man,
good?
that's good. We'll talk
have you
later.
guys back on. We'll talk more. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to us talk shit. Join us for the next episode. Comment down below if you have anything to add on. You have any crazy stories you want to run by us. We'd be glad to talk about it next time. Thank you all, and see you soon. Cut!